Good news, folks. This is all going to start making sense very soon.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man.
That's right.
Of the seed of man.
The word seed is sperm, and sperm comes through having sex.
It's shut out of your father's rod,
Right.
to put it in layman terms, in his penis.
That's right.
That means a man put his penis in a woman and bust off in it.
Then the angel said to him, "Take out the entrails of this fish, and lay up his heart and his gall and his liver for thee. For these are necessary for useful medicines."
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther,
Go ahead.
which are found neither in the Hebrew nor in the Chaldee.
Greetings, fellow worker slaves, podcasting at 128 kilobits from the Fortress of Squalitude, not far from the Redneck Mecca. This is the Atheist in the Trailer Park podcast. I'm your host, Tucker. Professor Fuzznuts is busy walking around between my lap and the computer, demanding attention. Yes, it's a podcast hosted by a guy and his cats. Get over it. This is a Ethiopian Apocrypha episode where Skullbeard and I read a couple of chapters from the Ethiopian Apocrypha. Next episode will be a news episode. All right. Apologies for the delay. I have been battling depression. Let's just get that right out there in the open. I don't know what triggered it. Yes, I'm on my medication. No, I'm in no danger. I spent all day yesterday curled up in bed in the fetal position because I just couldn't get out. Fuzznuts and Ash both have made some peace with one another, so they were curled up beside me the whole time, but I literally didn't get out of bed and I didn't go to work. I just called out because I couldn't do it. I think part of what triggered it is that Gene, who runs ReasonCon, announced this week that there is no more ReasonCon. I mean, the reason he said that he's canceling ReasonCon, it was, he didn't give any exact specifics, but he seemed to indicate that he just couldn't get good guests, and he didn't think it would be the kind of experience people would want to have. I disagree, because, as much as I enjoyed the guests in the sessions, really the beauty of ReasonCon was hanging out with, 1,000 fellow atheists. But, I'm not gonna argue with Gene or pressure him over that. But, I'm sure everybody else has been looking forward to the next ReasonCon since the last one, and now it's no more. So, it is not a happy time for me because of that, and, just bad brain chemistry. I hold out hope that Gene will revive it, because he said he's not releasing the name, which either he doesn't want it sullied by somebody doing something stupid with it, or he's thinking, well, I'll let it go a year and see how people respond and then bring it back. I don't know. I'm sure he's not happy about it because I know he had a good time. Adam, so, there's not a lot to be said about that, I guess. And many of you will notice that this has the same number that the last one did. Others of you will not notice that. 5 minutes after not 5 minutes, but, shortly after I posted the last episode, I got a DM from a listener who says it's the wrong episode number. Son of a bitch, you're right. I was in a hurry when I posted it, so I wasn't thinking. I forget that, the news episodes are even and the Apocrypha episodes are odd. So when I got home, I changed it. And if you hadn't downloaded it, the episode before I changed it, then you got the episode with the correct episode number. If you downloaded it, if you downloaded it before I changed the episode number, you got the incorrect episode number. If you downloaded it after I changed it, you got the correct episode number. There. As you can see, my thoughts are a bit scattered. So, anyways, let me think here. There's not really anything else to talk about. I guess it's kind of hard for me to think at the moment because somebody's climbing in my lap or my arms demanding attention, as if he hasn't gotten a whole bunch, because all we did was lay in a bed together. But at least you're not hissing at Ash anymore. You still get a little too close to him, and he doesn't like that, and he swats you, but it's progress. Yes, it is. Maybe one day you guys will be buddies. Anyways, the good news is the Skullbeard is back, and we finish up in this session, we finish up Book 2 of the Ethiopian Apocrypha, and we start Book 3. And when I did, what I did was when I went to start, I stopped translating Book 2 and focused on Book 3. So when we hit Book 3, it makes a hell of a lot more sense than it has in the past. I got lucky by random chance and found a Wikipedia page that explained a few things that we hadn't been able to figure out, and some of the stuff we'd gotten wrong as to how what we were thinking the words meant. The word ini, I-N-I, that they use in the text, we couldn't really figure out what it meant. We assigned it a couple of different meanings, and it turns out that what that translates to is a form of we that basically says you and I and God are one, more or less. It's a little more complicated than that. So generally, I've shifted it to a form of we, and there's a couple other words that have multiple meanings depending on the context of the text. In Book 3, I'll give you a little spoiler for when we get to it. It starts out with a conversation between God and Satan. It's not really clear from the text why they were talking, or when they were talking, but that's what it is, and I'm not sure how long the conversation continues because like all things, it jumps around. Anything else? Let me think. One other thing I will mention, just in passing, is the co-founder of Microsoft, Paul Allen, died over the weekend. And in addition to being a co-founder of Microsoft, he did a number of things with his billions. He's done some humanitarian work. He has funded a lot of scientific research in various areas, most notably in space rocketry. He funded, what the hell's his name now? I can't remember. He funded Spaceship One that won the X Prize for the low orbital flight, not low, suborbital flight that by the first civilian. He's also funded this, I forget the name of the plane, but it's this giant plane that's going to be used to put shit into orbit at a lower cost. It's the largest airplane ever built. It even dwarfs Howard Hughes' Spruce Goose. So, and he also has funded a number of, he built a giant science fiction museum in Washington State, and he's done a few other things like that. So he was a good nerd. And he did a lot with his money. Unlike certain people I could name who are billionaires who don't do a lot with their money. But, there is one other thing I want to mention. I do not understand this. I've messaged my podcast host, and the answer I got back from them was unsatisfactory. There is something weird going on with my download numbers, and I don't understand it. The average number of new episodes being downloaded has stayed roughly the same the past 3 months. And when I say roughly the same, is you expect some variation in your episodes. One episode will be, you'll have a small percentage more downloads than the next episode, and then the episode after that will have a larger percentage of downloads. There's natural variability. But, there's a range that you tend to stay in, and I'm in that range. But my total number of downloads has skyrocketed, and I'm confused. I mean, the only way that would be possible is if there were a large number, and I mean a large number of people going through and downloading the entire back catalog of the episodes. They're not, from what I can tell. And, it doesn't make any sense at all to me, because why? So why are the numbers spiking? And I'm getting the same levels of interaction with listeners that I've had basically almost since the beginning of the podcast. So you would think that if my listenership doubled, I would see an increase in interactions, but I'm not. And then when it doubles again, you would think, well, okay, so maybe the first time it doubled, you don't get any increase in interactions, but the second time you would expect to see an increase. No. So it'll be interesting to see if it continues, because it would make sense if there was a gradual increase, but August's downloads were double what July's were. That's a strange spike. Okay? September's downloads were double what August's were. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, of course, any increase is a good increase, but you would expect it to be gradual, not an absolute doubling, especially over, a period of time, just a short period of time like that. Once you hit a certain point, there is what they call a network effect. In other words, if you get, say, 100,000 listeners, you're going to see a huge jump just because you've got so many listeners and they're going to be telling people about your stuff. But I'm nowhere near 100,000 listeners. So I don't understand why it's doubling unless there's a problem with the software of my host. But they say that there's not a problem and that it's doing, that everything looks legitimate on their end. I just don't believe it. So, if you are a new listener out there, let me hear from you. Because I'm just curious as to why the hell this is spiking so much. It doesn't make any sense. I've talked to other people and they're like, well, it kind of doesn't make any sense, but the podcast host will run afoul of the law if they're giving you wrong information, so it has to be right. But the only thing I can think of is that somehow there's like bots pulling my shit down. But why, to inflate my numbers, but why somebody would want to create bots to do that, I don't know. course, with all the weird shit that the Russians are doing, you never know. It's like that video that showed some gal dumping shit on a guy who was manspreading on the subway. Well, that turns out to be a faked Russian video. Why they did it, I don't really know. But anyways, that's all I've got to say. So I'm sure you're just anxious as hell to hear Skullbeard and I go after the Ethiopian Apocrypha and not my ramblings. So let's get to that. And as she are the day when persons who found them reward are made nice, persons who forgot Jehovah law shall stand in the place where them stand, persons who make liars, who digest books while them said, persons who dead won't arise, them shall cite up resurrection. At that time, this world's sinners, who didn't work goodly work in this world, shall weep upon them sin that them worked, because sadness found them without calming. And all likewise kind persons who worked goodly work, them nice ites won't be fulfilled up till eternity, for them have worked goodly work when them were in this world.
For them have known that them will arise after them dead, and them didn't depart from them Creator law. Because them didn't depart from him law, them shall inherit two welfares. Him multiplied them seed in this world, and him honored their children. Him bequeathed them the kingdom of heaven, where shall be found the welfare him swore for them fathers upon the time when persons who dead arise, and upon the time when rich ones become poor.
Persons shall weep who worked sin, who don't believe persons who dead arisen, who don't keep Jehovah law, and who don't think of a rising day. At that time them will cite up the tribulation that shall find them, and shall have no ending. And where are no calming nor welfare, and it have the sadness that have no rest nor calming in them reasoning. And a fire that don't perish, and worms that don't sleep shall find them. Mm-hmm.
And in the place where are them flesh are fine, sulfur, whirlwind, frost, hail, sleet, all this shall reign over them. For persons who don't believe persons who dead arisen, there are fire of Gehenna upon them. Thou please think of what are upon thy flesh, and thy forehead, and thy hands' nails, and thy head hair, for them proceed quickly upon the time thou cut them. Now no resurrection by this, that thou have a reasoning, and that thou have religion and knowledge. Thy forehead, and thy hands' nails, and thy head hair, thou say, where do these come from? Aren't it Jehovah who prepared it, that them might proceed? That thou know a rising that shall be done upon thy flesh, that aren't upon another flesh, that thou might know that thou will arise after thou dead? Because them misled souls while thou said, there are no resurrection of the dead ones, upon the time when dead ones arise thou will receive thy hardship, like unto thou worked sin and iniquity.
And as even what thou planted now won't remain, refusing that it might grow, whether it be wheat or barley, thou wilt cite up she upon the time the day arrived when thou received thy hardship. And again, the plant thou planted won't say, I won't grow, and be it a fig wood or a grapevine, its fruit and its leaf won't be changed. If thou plant grapes, it won't be changed that it might be a fig. If thou plant figs, it won't be changed that it might be grapes. And if thou sow wheat, it won't be changed that it might be barley.
all in each of the seeds, in each of its kinds, each of the fruits, each of the woods, each of the leaves, each of the roots, send forth fruit, having received pardon due blessing by what are found from Jehovah. Yet if thou sow barley, also it won't be changed, that it might be wheat. And all likewise that a grave might produce flesh and soul, she shall produce persons like unto Jehovah sowed upon she. The flesh and soul that Jehovah sowed shall arise, being altered. Yet persons who work goodly work won't be changed in persons who work evil work, and persons who work evil work also won't be changed in persons who work goodly work. Upon the time the hour arrived, when a drum are beaten, persons who dead shall arise by the pardon due found from Jehovah. Persons who work goodly work shall arise in life or resurrection, and them reward of the garden where all are nice sights that Jehovah prepared for kind persons, where are no tribulation nor diseases, and that are clean ones lodging, where them won't again dead after this. Oh, it's quite a mouth.
Yeah. But persons who worked evil work shall arise, a default judgment arisen, and with Diablos who misled them, and with him armies, demons who don't love that even one person might be saved from all Adam's children. Them shall descend toward Gehenna, that where darkness edge, where are tooth grinding and mourning, where are no charity nor pardon, and where are no exits up till eternity, that are beneath Sheol forever. For them didn't work goodly work in their life or in this world when they were in the flesh.
Because this thing it shall be judged upon them upon the time when flesh and soul arise, being altered. Woe for persons who don't believe the flesh and soul arising, whereby Jehovah show him miracles, abundance together. And all and each one shall receive him reward like unto him work, and him hands weariness.
A wheat kernel won't grow nor bear fruit unless she were demolished. But if a wheat kernel are demolished, she will send roots toward earth. She will send forth leaves. There will be buds. It will bear fruit.
This is the Rasta translation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You know that the one wheat kernel will become many kernels. And all likewise, this kernel grow rising up from water and wind and earth dew, for wheat can't bear fruit without sun, but sun are because fire stead.
And wind are because a soul stead, and wheat can bear fruit without wind, and the water give earth for drink, and sat she. And after earth, that are ashes, drank water, she produce roots, and she tips are lofty upward. She bear fruit around what Jehovah blessed she. But a wheat kernel are Adam example, in whom lodged a resonating soul that Jehovah created, and likewise a grape would drink water, that's wood like wood, and send forth roots, and the thin root drink water.
For pardon, I don't know. For pardon due found from Jehovah, give for drink vines tips that were long, and it send the water upward toward the leaf tips. It bud up from the sun heat, and by Jehovah accord it bear fruit. And it shall be a goodly fragrance that make a reasoning nice. And upon the time they ate it, it shall satisfy like unto water that don't make thirsty, and grain that don't make hungry. Well, that's generally how it works. And upon the time them immersed it, it will be the cluster blood. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean. And like unto it were told in Psalm, saying, grapes make a person reasoning nice. Upon the time them drink it, it make a person heart nice, and upon the time a person who came loose opened his mouth and drank it, he is drunk. Him drink and fill in him lungs, and the blood flow towards his heart.
As grapes drunkenness totally mislead, and as it deprives him mind, it make the pit and the cliff like unto a wide meadow, and him don't know obstacles as thorns upon him forehead and hands. Jehovah did thus upon she fruit and grape wood, that him name might be praised by persons who believe dead persons are risen, and who do him accord. In the kingdom of heaven him shall make persons nice, who believe persons also... No, who believe persons who dead are risen.
Yeah, so apparently going to heaven is like being mildly drunk. Little tipsy, not sloshy drunk.
Okay, so just like happy drunk.
Yeah.
Mildly intoxicated.
Yeah. You persons who don't believe persons who dead arisen around what error you error. And upon the time them took you toward the place you don't know, you will regret a useless regret. And because you didn't believe the arisen that persons who dead shall arise, altered in soul and flesh, and upon the time persons cast you toward Gehenna. If you work, whether the good or the evil, you will receive your reward like unto your work. For you have misled them companions, reasoning, while you said, we know that persons who dead, who were dust and ashes, won't arise. As them death have no exit, and as them have no power for them chastisement, that shall come upon them, and as them weren't firm in their tribulation, because this thing they must lead their companions, for they have that they might stand in Jehovah's square.
So if I'm not mistaken, the precondition for going to heaven where you're mildly drunk all the time is you got to believe that dead people get up and walk around.
It looks that way.
Zombies.
Yeah.
Awesome. Upon the time him vexed upon them in him wrath, them will totally forrar, because them didn't know that them were created bringing from not living toward living, as them speak Jehovah law without knowing, it shall be judged upon them, all because them worked evil. Them don't know Gehenna, where them will go, for because them were angry, and because them were crooked in them work, them teach for them companions like unto them reason and thirst measure, and for them are evil ones who teach a crooked thing, while them said, there are no resurrection of dead ones. At that time them shall know that persons who dead shall rise, and them shall know that it shall be judged upon them, because them didn't believe the persons who dead arisen, that are for all Adam children. So if you don't believe, you're not going into heaven, you're going to hell or whatever.
Yeah.
Alright, I'll take my chances.
For all are Adam's children, and for all have died because of Adam. And for death, judgment have found all from alongside Jehovah, because all fathers Adam error. All will again arise there with all father Adam, that all might receive all hardship by all work, that all worked. For the world have been ruled for death by all father Adam's ignorance. Wow. I could almost figure that out if I had time. But by Adam infringing Jehovah's command, because this thing all received hardship, and flesh in grave, melted like unto wax, and all bodies perished.
And earth drank all marrow, all perished, and all comeliness perished in grave, and all flesh were buried in grave, and all beautiful words were buried in earth. and worms proceeded from all shallow eyes, and all foragers perished in grave and became dust. Where are Utmon's foragers' comeliness, who were attractive, whose stance were handsome, and whose word things succeeded? What? How about where are warriors' firmness?
Where are the king's armies, or how about the noble's lordship? Where are adorning in horses, and adorning in silver and gold, and adorning in Shaolin weapons? Got me. Didn't it perish? Where are sweet great drink, and how about food flavor?
I don't know about these Shaolin weapons.
Yeah, got me.
Lee Van Cleef gonna show up or something? Oh, Earth. O Earth, who gathered the nobles and the kings and rich ones and elders and daughters who were attractive and beauties who were attractive, woe arising from thee, aye. O Earth, who gathered persons who were warriors, them who have comeliness, and them who were fine of leg, and them who have reasoning and knowledge, and them whose words have words that were beautiful like unto a human harp, and like unto a lyre. Is it lyre or lyre?
Either way.
Yeah. And a violin beat. And them who have a tune that make nice like unto great drink make nice, and them whose eyes shine like unto a morning star. Hey, wait a minute. That's a minor character, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, morning star is Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
At least in some interpretations of the Old Testament. And those who sketch what were firm like unto their right hands lift up what are given and withheld, and like unto them were, and them whose forehead were beautiful for sight up, and them who run like unto Russian wheels, woe arisen from thee. O death, who separated attractive persons' souls from their flesh, woe arisen from thee. For thou have been sent by Jehovah's accord, as thou have gathered many persons whom Jehovah produced from thee, and returned toward thee. Thou earth, woe arising from thee. All were found from thee, all returned toward thee by accord of Jehovah. All were nice over thee by Jehovah accord. But not the prelude, or not his civic.
Uh-huh. Is this a funeral service? It almost sounds...
It kind of does.
Thou became a carpet for all corpses. There's a lovely mental image.
Yep.
All recurred over thee, and all were buried within thee. All ate thy fruit, and thou ate all flesh. And all drank the water found from thy springs, and thou drank all blood springs. All ate the fruit found from thy earthliness, and thou ate all body flesh. Like unto Jehovah commanded thee for all food, all ate grain from thy earthliness, that have beautiful dew, and thou received all comeliness, and made it dust for thy food, like unto Jehovah commanded thee.
O death, who gathered the nobles and the kings who were powerful, woe arising from thee. Thou didn't forehead, because that's generally what I don't know,
That was forehead, wasn't it?
Yeah, forehead was forehead. Thou didn't arising from them famousness, and them frightening like unto Jehovah who created them commanded thee. O death, woe arising from thee, and thou didn't scorn the suffering. And thou weren't nice for persons whose features are beautiful, and thou didn't quit powerful ones and warriors. Thou didn't quit poor nor rich ones, neither kind nor evil ones, neither children nor elders, nor neither daughters nor males. Thou didn't quit persons who think a goodly thing, and who didn't depart from the law, and thou didn't quit them who were like unto animals in their work, who think an evil thing, who were totally beautiful in their features' comeliness, in their thing flavor, and in their words, O death, woe arisen from thee. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Thou didn't quit persons whose words were angry and whose mouths were full of curses. Thou gathered persons who live in darkness and in light, and them souls in thy places, O death, woe arisen from thee. And earth gathered the person's flesh who live whether in cave or in earth, up till the drum are beaten, and persons who dead arise. As persons who dead shall arise quickly, like unto a wink, unto a eye wink by Jehovah command, and upon a drum being beaten, persons who work evil work shall receive them hardship, in them sin abundance measure that them worked it, and persons who work goodly work shall be nice. Well, isn't that special?
And believe I that all worked in this world won't remain nor be hidden upon the time all stood before him, fearing and trembling. And upon the time all didn't seize provisions for all path, and upon the time all won't have clothes for all bodies. So you're going to be naked in heaven. Works for me. Upon the time all won't have a staff for all hands, nor shoes for all feet.
And upon the time all won't know the paths where demons take all, whether it be a slippery or smooth, or be it dark, and whether it be thorns or nettles, or whether it be a water depth or a pit depth, believe I that all worked in this world won't remain nor be hidden. All won't know the demons who take all, and all won't hear them thing. As them are black ones, and as them that lead all toward darkness, all don't sight up them faces. Don't look, kids.
Yeah. And like unto the prophet spoke, saying, Upon the time my soul was separated from my flesh, Lord, my Lord, thou know my path, and them hid a trap upon that path where I went. And I sight up, returning towards the right. I lacked one who knows me, and I have nothing there whereby I will escape, as they take all towards darkness, and won't sight up them faces. As him know that demons ridicule upon him, and as they will lead him toward the path he doesn't know, him speaking this are because this, and if he return leftward and rightward, there are no persons who know him. He alone admits, he is alone amidst demons, and yet there are none who know him.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
Angels of light who are subtle are who are sent toward kind persons, that them might receive righteous ones' souls, and might take toward a light place toward the garden where welfare are found. Demons and angels of darkness are who are sent, that them might receive them, and might take them toward Gehenna, that were prepared for them, that them might receive them hardship by them sin, that them worked. Woe for sinner persons' souls who take them toward destruction, who have no welfare nor rest, nor escaping from the tribulation that found them, nor proceeding from Gehenna up till eternity.
As they have lived firmed up in quail work, I have no idea what quail work is, and as they have perished by Balaam iniquity price, and as they have lacked what they will do, woe for sinner persons. For their pretext for receive interest and presents, or presents, I'm not sure, that in downgression they might take a foreigner's money that weren't their money. they shall receive their hardship in Gehenna by their sin that they worked.
Where are persons who gather a foreigner money that weren't them hands' work nor them money? For them take a person money for free, and for them shall be gathered without knowing the day when them dead that shall arrive upon them. However, them quit them money for a foreigner. Like unto them fathers are sinners' kindreds, who worry and seize sinners like unto them, whether it be by theft or by robbery, and them children won't be nice by them fathers' money.
And as they have gathered for them in downgression, and as it are like unto misty urine. That's what you get when you piss into the wind, folks. And like unto the smoke that winds scatter, and like unto the wilting grass, and like unto wax that melt arisen from before a fire. As sinners' glory shall perish, like unto that there are none whom their father's money will benefit. Like unto Dawit spoke, saying, I cite up a sinner man, being honored and famed, like unto a cordia, and like unto a cypress. But upon the time I returned, I lacked him. I searched and didn't find his place. There are none whom their father's money will profit nor benefit, because they gathered a person's money in downgression. It's seeming for them that they won't die, like unto persons who wrong their companions won't boast. Sinner persons' destruction are likewise at one time.
You lazy ones think that you will perish, and that your money will perish with you, and if your silver and your gold abound, it shall be rusted. Gold doesn't rust. And if you birth many children, them shall be for many graves. And if you work many houses, them shall be demolished. For you didn't fulfill your Creator Jehovah accord, and if you multiply livestock, them shall be for your enemies' capture, and all the money you seized in your hands won't be found, for it have been what art blessed.
Whether it be in house or in forest, and be it in wilderness or a pasture place, and be it in grape threshing floor or in grain threshing olive threshing floor, it won't be found, because you didn't keep Jehovah's command, as Jehovah won't save you with all your household from the tribulation. There shall be sadness upon you arising from all your enemies, yet you won't be nice in your children birthed from your nature. Okay. But from him plenty, him won't trouble the persons who kept his order and his law. He give all who begged him, yet he blessed them children birthed from nature, and also them land fruit for them.
And him make them rulers upon all peoples in them areas, that them might rule, lest them be who are ruled. And him gave them all him plenty in them pasture place. Him blessed for them all them seized in them hand, and them field fruit, and all them livestock's places, and him make them nice in them children birthed from them nature. And him don't demolish them livestock upon them. Is that demolish?
Yeah.
Looks like. Him save them from all them tribulation, and from weariness and illness and destruction, and from them enemy them don't know, and from him them know.
And he will dispute for them in judgment time, and he shall save them from an evil thing, and from tribulation, and from all who dispute them. In the first era, if a priest lived who worked the tent work, who keep the law and keep the tent order, and live firmed up in Jehovah's accord, by the first order, and all the law, as they would give him the tithe, and what were birthed first, beginning from man up till livestock, he would save them from all the tribulation. Now, this raises an interesting question. Because at one time, according to other books, the firstborn child was supposed to go to the temple to be offered up to Moloch.
Yep.
So, is that what they're talking about, or are they talking about the firstborn son being offered up to become a rabbi?
Ooh. Either one's a fate worse than death.
Yeah. And I've got something to say about that in a little bit. Like unto Moses commanded Nui child Aishu, there was a country of sanctuary, and all their country by not knowing, and by knowing up till them judged judgment upon whom they convicted and for whom they acquitted. Okay? If a person lived who killed a soul, he would be measured there that him might be saved. He told them, examine in your reasonings that he have a quarrel with him formerly, and be it by axe, or be it by a stone, or be it by wood, as it have fallen from his hand by not knowing, if he says, that person upon whom it for ill dead upon me, and examine and save him, if he did it in not knowing, make him be saved. So if somebody does something terrible out of ignorance, don't punish him for it.
Oh. So they're giving dumbasses a get out of shit free card or something?
Yeah, apparently so.
It'll come in handy.
Yeah.
But if him did it knowing, him will receive him hardship like unto him sin. And there are none who will pardon him, but if him kill him and not knowing, as him have done it in not knowing, examine and save him lest him dead. Him worked for them that them might distance from all the sins, yet Moses would work like unto this for Israel children, lest them depart from Jehovah law. Him commanded them that Adam children, who him firmed up in Jehovah command from worshiping idols, and eaten what dead and lodged, and what a sword bloated and cut, and who distanced from all evil work, like unto him worked for them, that them might work, and them might totally distance from all that aren't due.
He commanded them, lest they depart from the command he worked for them in the tent example in heaven, that they might save their bodies and might find themselves lodging with their fathers. And as they have been birthed from Seth and Adam, and Seth, I guess, is Eve, who did Jehovah accord, or no, Seth would be Seth. It would be Seth, because Eve in this patois is this really long name, like almost like Hiawatha. I'm not kidding. I'll have to pull up the other version of the text and find it. It's really bizarre. As them had been birthed from Seth and Adam, who did Jehovah's accord, persons who believed in Jehovah's word and lived firmed up in his command will be called kind persons' children. As all are Adam's children, as he have created all in his example and his appearance, that all might work all goodly work that make Jehovah nice, he won't scorn it.
As him totally won't separate him friends, if all work goodly work, all shall inherit the kingdom of heaven, where are welfare with persons who work goodly work. Him totally love persons who beg him cleanly, and him hear them in them prayer. And him accept the repentance of persons who are disciplined and enter repentance. Him give firmness and power for persons who keep him order and him law and him command. Persons who did him accord shall be nice with him in him kingdom forever, and whether them be persons who preceded or who arose later, them will present praise for him beginning from today up till eternity. Make glory due for Jehovah forever, and the second Maccabean arrived and were fulfilled. Or whatever.
Yeah. Book 3. Christos shall rejoice Egypt's persons, because he shall come toward them in a later era that will revenge and destroy Satan, who wronged them who were kindly and innocent, and who misled persons, and who hates his Creator's work. He shall revenge and destroy him. He shall return his lordship toward righteousness. Let me try that one again. He shall revenge and destroy him. He shall return his lordship toward wretchedness and being debased, for he has been arrogant in his reasoning. He shall return his lordship toward being debased, for, as he has said, as I will enter toward the sea midst, and as I will proceed toward heaven, and as I will sight up depths, and as I will go up and seize Adam's children like unto bird chicks, who are loftier than I.
This guy's not arrogant at all.
No.
Because I became by their reason, that I might distance them from the straight law of Jehovah, as I will strengthen upon persons who live in this world, unless they did Jehovah accord, there are none who will depose me from my authority, he said. For my will be a reason to return them toward a path that were smooth to go toward Gehenna with me. Persons who loved him and kept his law hate me because this thing, but persons who departed from their Lord's law and who erred will come toward me and love me and keep my oath, as I will make their reason an evil and change them thoughts, lest they return toward their Creator Jehovah. They will do my command like unto I commanded them.
And upon the time I showed them this world's money, I will mislead their reasoning from straight law, and upon the time I showed them beautiful and attractive daughters, I will distance them by these from straight law. And upon the time I showed them shining Hidiki jewels, I have no idea what Hidiki could be, and silver and gold, I will distance them by this also from straight law, that they might return toward my work. And upon the time I showed them sheer clothes, and red silk, and white silk, and linens, and white silk, love that redundancy, I will distance them by this also from straight law, and I will return them toward my thoughts. Upon the time I multiplied money and livestock like unto sand, and showed them, by this also I will return them toward my work.
And upon the time I showed them jealousy done in arrogance, because daughters, and because anger and quarrels, and all this I will return them toward my work. And upon the time I showed them signs, I will lodge in them companions' reasoning, and I will lodge a sign thing, that were to each of the own selves in their reasoning, and I showed them words, signs, and misled them. Okay. And for persons in whom I have made my house, I will show them signs, and be it in a star's gate, or be it in a cloud proceeding, or in a fire flickering, or be it in beasts and birds' cries, as they are my lodgings, I will lodge signs in their reasoning upon them by all this.
See, it makes a little more sense than the last section.
Oh. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little better, but it's still confusing as hell.
Yeah. They will speak and give signs for their companions, and like unto those the naysayers told them, I will proceed and be a sign for them. I will do their words and signs for them, that persons who examined them might be misled, and that they might give a wage to magicians, and that they might say to their companions, saying, There are no savants like unto so-and-so, and so-and-so, to whom it is done like unto them spoke. and who know prophecy, and who separate good and evil, and to whom all are like unto them spoke, and to whom it is done like unto their word. I will be holy upon the time they speak this, that persons who perish in error by me might totally abound, and that Adam's children might perish. For Jehovah had debased me from my rank, because their father Adam, upon my saying, I won't bow to Adam who is debased before me. So, Lucifer got all pissy because God said, this guy's better than you.
And I will take toward destruction all his children who live firmed up in my command. I have an oath from Jehovah who created me, that all persons who are misled might descend toward Gehenna with me. And upon the time he multiplied his anger upon me, and upon the time he commanded that they might bind and cast me toward Gehenna, upon the time my Creator commanded, saying thus, I interceded with my Lord. I interceded before him while I said, As thou hast vexed upon me, and as thou hast admonished me by thy chastisement, and as thou hast chastised me by thy wrath, Lord my Lord, adjourn me that I might speak one thing before thee. And my Lord answered, saying to me, Speak, I will hear thee. At that time I began my plea toward him, saying, After I was debased from my rank, make the persons whom I misled be like unto me in Gehenna, where my will receive tribulation.
And make them be for thy lordship who refused me, who didn't err by me, who didn't keep my command, that they might do thy command, and might fulfill thy accord, and might keep thy word. Upon the time they didn't err by my like unto I misled them, having refused like unto I taught them, and upon the time thou loved me, make them take the crown thou gave to me. Give them the crown of the authorities called Sathans. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Scythians or Syrians or what, who were sent with me. Seat them upon my throne upon thy right, that were a wilderness for me and my hosts, and make them praise thee like unto thou loved, and make them be like unto my hosts and like unto me, because thou hated me and loved those who were created from ashes and earth. As my authority has perished, and as their authority has been lofty, make them praise thee like unto thou loved. So apparently Satan's saying, okay, you're going to send me to hell, that's fine, but all the people you're going to send to hell, make them worship me like all the people worship you.
Yep, Satan's cutting a deal.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
My Lord answered to me, saying, As thou have misled them while they sat up and while they heard, if thou misled them without them loving my order, make them be to thee like unto thy accord and like unto thy word. If they quit the book's word and I command and came toward thee, and if thou misled them while their destruction also saddened me, make them receive tribulation in Gehenna like unto thee, he told me. You will receive tribulation in Gehenna up till the eternity, yet you will have no exits from Gehenna up till the eternity for them who thou misled, nor for thee.
And oftentimes, but not always, FE will mean something other than for. It's a variation of to be, so it'll be is or for or something along those lines. I figured that out while I was redoing this thing. But I shall bequeath thy throne in lordship to them whom it failed thee to mislead, like unto my slave Jacob. Jehovah, who rules all, said, I will give the kingdom of heaven to persons whom it failed thee to mislead. So basically he's saying, from the way that reads, it's almost like, well, the default position is everybody's going to go to heaven unless you fuck up and fail to trick these people. which is the reverse of regular Christianity for a long time, where it was everybody goes to hell until Jesus shows up. And then they get sorted out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought everybody was going to hell because we're all sinners and shit. Whatever.
Yeah, but that's why Jesus went to hell, was because everybody who had died prior to him was in hell, regardless of their actions, except for Ezekiel and whomever else it was who got, UFO'd straight up into heaven.
Yeah.
And this seems to be the reverse of that everybody's automatically, on the ticket unless Satan somehow manages to deceive them.
All right.
That's the way that reads.
Seems like it.
Yeah. And I provoke upon Adam's children in all, if it were possible for me to mislead them, and I won't quit those that they might firm up in goodly work. For I provoke upon all Adam's children, and I sweeten this world holy rites for them, be it by loving drink and food and clothes, or by loving things, or by withholding and giving.
Or be it by loving, or hear and sight up, or be it by loving to caress and go. It's getting a little, easy. Or be it by multiplying arrogance and things, or be it by loving dreams and slumber, or be it by multiplying drunkenness and drink, or be it by multiplying insults and anger, be it by speaking games and useless things, or be it by quarrels and by backbiting them companion, or be it by citing up this world daughters who were attractive, be it by smelling perfumes fragrance that mislead them. That's quite the list of things that'll lead us astray.
Yeah. I hate them all, by this lest them be able to be saved. I distance them from Jehovah's law, that they might enter with me toward the destruction whereby I was debased from my rank. And the prophet told him, Thou who destroy persons, perish upon the time thou departed from Jehovah's law, and committed crime in thy reasoning firmness and thy arrogance, and by saddening thy Creator and not worshipping thy Creator in thy reasoning firmness. Will thou thus be arrogant upon Jehovah's creation? Upon the time thy Creator vexed upon me, he debased thee from thy rank because of thy evil word. Why do thou take Adam toward sin, he whom his Creator created from earth, whom he made like unto him, loved, and whom he placed for his paradise, he told him.
Upon the time thou, who art subtle and were created from wind and fire, were arrogant in saying, I am the Creator. Upon the time thou boasted, as Jehovah has seen thy evil work, and thou have been denied Jehovah without thy hosts, he created Adam, will praise because thy stead, and he might praise his name without diminishing. As thou have made thy own self prouder than all angels' hosts who are like unto thee, because thy arrogance Jehovah created Adam with his children, that them might praise Jehovah's name, because the praise that thou praised with thy hosts, whom he scorned.
And because this thing Jehovah destroyed thee, separating from all angels' chiefs like unto thee, and thy host created in one counsel with thee, and thou, you proceeded and erred from Jehovah's praise, because your useless reasoning arrogance, and because your reasoning firmness, and you were arrogant upon your Creator, that aren't upon another. Okay? Because this thing he created Adam from earth, that he might be praised by debased persons. And he gave him a command and law, saying, Don't eat, lest him eat from fig fruit. And so the forbidden fruit, according to this, was the fig, not the apple.
Yep, looks that way.
So I wonder how they like fig Newtons, huh? Which, I guess that's why Jesus killed that tree,
Oh. That would explain something, at least.
Yeah. And he appointed him over all the creation that he had made. He notified him, saying, Don't eat from one fig fruit that bring death, lest thou bring death upon thy own self, yet eat fruit from all the woods amidst the garden. Not exactly. Because there were two trees that they were forbidden. There was the one with the knowledge of good and evil, which they ate, and there was the tree of immortality, which God's like, no, we got to get these guys out of here before they eat from that tree and become immortal like us.
Yep. The tree of everlasting life? No. Something like that.
Yeah.
And upon the time thou heard this word, thou lodged perfidy in him arisen from the thing thou spoke in thy tongue to Eve, who were found from Adam's side bone. Bow chicka wow wow. Thou misled Adam, who were clean in firm perfidy, that thou might make him a law demolisher like unto thee. Upon the time thou misled Eve, who were created being like unto an innocent dove, and who don't know thy malice, thou made her betray by thy thing that succeeded, and thy crooked word, and after thou misled that Eve, who were created beforehand, she also went and misled Jehovah creation's Adam, who was created from earth beforehand.
Yeah.
Bad girl.
And thou made him betray a disturbance in the force, that aren't by thy arrogance, and thou made him to deny that he might deny his Creator's word. And thou destroyed Adam in thy arrogance, and in thy malice thou distanced him from his Creator's love, and by thy reason thou sent him away from the garden where holy rites are, and by thy hindrance thou made him quit the garden food. For beginning from antiquity thou have quarreled with the innocent creation Adam, that thou might lower him toward Sheol, where thou will receive hardship, and that thou might send him away from the love that brought him and created him from not living toward true living. And by thy false thing thou made him thirst a drink from the garden.
And when he is earthly, he made him a subtle angel, who totally praised his Creator in his flesh, and his soul in his reasoning. And he created many thoughts for him, like unto harps praise, in each of their styles.
That's it for this episode of The Atheist in the Trailer Park Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as just about anywhere else podcasts can be found. Many of the episodes are also on YouTube. Follow the show on Twitter. @TParkAtheist is the show's Twitter handle. It's on Facebook at facebook.com/trailerparkatheist.com. If you happen to like the podcast, please rate it on iTunes. If you'd like to support the podcast, there's a donate button on the show notes page. You can support it via Patreon at patreon.com/TNTucker. Thanks for listening.
Say goodnight, Fuzz-Nuts.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
Damned cat.